district. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my motion is a call to address the low level of awareness and preparedness to prevent the outbreak of anthrax in Nigeria. The Senate notes that there is an outbreak of anthrax disease, a deadly zoonotic bacterium, in countries across ECOWAS region, including Ghana and Togo. Also note that on the 12th of June 2023, the federal government, amidst the Democracy Day celebration, raised an alarm over the outbreak of the deadly anthrax disease. Further notes, in the Public Health Advisory, jointly signed by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, Nigeria was said to be at high risk of importing the deadly anthrax disease from Ghana, where it was confirmed both in humans and animals. Aware of a report by City Newsroom that 30 animals have died, 3 human deaths have been recorded, and 13 cases have tested positive for the anthrax disease in Ghana as of June 2023. Cognizant of the fact that though anthrax is primarily a disease of animals, non-vaccinated animals which anthrax can easily transmit it to man through the inhalation of anthrax spores or consumption of contaminated or infected animal products such as hides and skin, meat or milk. Worried that although Nigeria is yet to record any suspected or confirmed case, the outbreak in Ghana poses a great public health risk to Nigeria due to the highly transmissible nature of the disease. Also worried by Nigerians' low level of preparedness and awareness, as a good number of Nigerians are ignorant of the outbreak of the anthrax disease, how it is transmitted, or the risk it portends. And further worried that no nationwide livestock vaccination exercise against anthrax disease as a means to prevent this disease from infiltrating the country has been announced by the federal government. The Senate therefore accordingly resolves to urge the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and Federal Ministry of Health to embark on nationwide vaccination of livestock with the anthrax spore vaccine, most especially in the border states of the country. Also urge the Federal Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism to begin intensive awareness campaign to sensitize Nigerians on the outbreak of the anthrax disease, symptoms for early detection, and prevention guidelines. And finally, to mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance when constituted to ensure compliance. I so submit, Mr. President.
Any seconder? Distinguished Senator Tony Woye.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Dr. Tony Woye. I really moved by my brother, Senator Ezengma Onyewuchi. Knowing fully well, Mr. President, if you should allow me to contribute briefly while seconding this motion, my contribution being that anthrax is a very deadly disease, a spore-forming and a very virulent organism caused by Bacillus anthracis. Bacillus anthracis is a gram-positive bacteria that is very, very virulent, my president. Distinguished colleagues, if federal government of Nigeria does not act in a hasty manner and this disease comes to Nigeria, the level of epidemiology and the level of harm the disease will do to our country cannot be quantified. Hereby, in seconding this all-important motion, I want to urge the distinguished colleagues for us to support this motion, knowing fully well that this disease is more deadly than the Ebola virus, and knowing fully well that this bacteria, Bacillus anthracis, can survive under a very harsh environment. It can stay 2 months, 3 months surviving outside outside the host environment. That is why I'm seconding this all-important motion and also calling my colleagues to support it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes,
even mentioned that made this disease a very, very terrible one is that from study, it has even been found out that it can be transmitted through insect bites, like mosquito and stable flies. And the longevity of the bacteria is as bad as that it can last up to 2 years in water and up to 50 years in milk and dry skin. It means that some of us who enjoy eating omo are very much at danger, because this bacteria can last as much as 50 years in such material. Another thing I would like to also highlight is that it's also as dangerous as affecting the kidney and the lungs. So I'm supporting this motion and urging the Senate to, as a matter of urgency, get in touch with the National Center for Disease Control so that we can arrest the situation before it becomes a natural disaster. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
My name is Otumba Engineer Benga Daniel, representing the good people of Ogun East Senatorial District. I stand to also lend my voice and support to this motion by Senator Oyewuchi. I'm coming from the angle that in anything that is medical and healthcare, the cost of prevention is usually infinitesimal compared with the cost that will be incurred if we have an epidemic in our hands. I'm also coming from the angle that this kind of call is also a wake-up call for all the various healthcare and control institutions, that it is indeed a lot better to prevent anthrax from coming into our land than to begin to run helter-skelter if and when it happens. I therefore, just on the basis of those 2 points, commend my brother who raised this motion and also urge that the motion be supported by all.
Thank you, my distinguished chair. Urge the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and Federal Ministry of Health to embark on nationwide vaccination of livestock with the anthrax spore vaccine, most especially in the border states of the country. Those in support of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Federal Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism to begin intensive awareness campaigns to sensitize Nigerians on the outbreak of the anthrax disease, the symptoms for early detection and prevention guidelines. Those who are in support of this prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3, mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance, which has been constituted to ensure compliance with this motion. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. Let me thank my dear brother, distinguished Senator Nwebui, distinguished Senator Onyebuchi Ezenwa for this motion, and particularly say that it's not just Federal Ministry of Information. We should also urge the National Orientation Agency and any mouthpiece of government that can assist to propagate and bring the information to the rural areas and communities on the outbreak of this deadly disease. So we don't wait until it gets to a pandemic before we sensitize our citizenry. And so I thank you, distinguished Senator Onyebuchi, for this, and pray that with this motion, it will even bring to the fore the fact of this outbreak across West African countries. And I think it's important also to watch our borders, because some of the people coming in, maybe the Federal Ministry of Health will have means of dictating it on time for those visitors entering into Nigeria, so that we can prevent it before it gets into the mainstream of the populace. Thank you for this.